All right, get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into Cloudflare.
Cloudflare.
Yeah, they're generating a ton of buzz right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Everyone's talking about them.
So we're going to figure out, is it all hype, or does this company have the potential to be a real game changer?
I like it.
We're going to take a page from Warren Buffett's playbook for this one.
Interesting.
We're doing our wonderful company litmus test on Cloudflare.
I love that. And it's a great comparison because Cloudflare, like a lot of companies Buffett loves, operates behind the scenes.
They do.
They're quietly powering a huge chunk of the internet.
They are. And we're talking almost 20% of all websites rely on Cloudflare.
It's incredible.
20%, that's a mind-boggling number.
It is.
It's like they're the plumbing of the internet. We don't
Right.
necessarily see it, but it's essential for things to run smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about what that actually looks like in practice.
Yeah.
What are their core services?
Okay, so let's start with what's called a content delivery network, or CDN.
CDN.
Yeah. Imagine a network of servers all across the globe, each storing copies of website content.
So like pictures, videos, that sort of thing.
Yeah, pictures, videos, even code.
Okay.
Now, when you go to a website that uses Cloudflare's CDN, your request is routed to the server that's closest to you.
Got it.
So instead of traveling across the world to the website's main server, it's grabbing information from a server just down the street.
So that's why websites load faster when they use Cloudflare.
Exactly. We're talking milliseconds here, but, in the age of the internet, speed is everything.
Speed is key.
And Cloudflare's not messing around. They've got data centers in over 330 cities,
Wow.
ensuring that fast, reliable experience no matter where the user is.
That's incredible. So it's like they have this digital warehouse in every major city just ready to go at a moment's notice.
It is. But that's just one piece of the puzzle.
Really?
Yeah. They also handle something called domain name system, or DNS services.
DNS.
Yeah, think of it as like the phone book of the internet. When you type in a website name like google.com,
Right.
your computer needs to translate that into a numerical IP address.
Oh, okay, to actually understand it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Cloudflare makes sure these lookups happen quickly, securely,
I see.
prevents any hiccups or vulnerabilities.
So they're making sure you get to the right website and fast.
That's right.
All right, I'm starting to understand why so many websites depend on them. But what about security?
Oh, good question.
It seems like every other day there's another cyber attack in the news. Where does Cloudflare fit in?
Yeah, that's a big part of their business. They offer a whole suite of cybersecurity solutions, everything from DDoS mitigation to web application firewalls.
Okay, break that down for me.
So DDoS mitigation, that protects against attacks that can knock websites offline.
Oh, I see.
Overwhelming attacks. And the web application firewall that filters out malicious traffic that's trying to exploit vulnerabilities.
So they're essentially acting like a digital shield.
Exactly.
Okay.
Protecting businesses and users.
So we've got speed, we've got reliability, we've got security. How do they actually make money?
Good question. It's a mix.
Yeah.
They've got different subscription tiers for everyone.
So like individuals to huge companies.
Bloggers, massive enterprises, everyone.
Got it.
But they also have usage-based fees.
So if you're using a lot of bandwidth, you pay more.
Exactly.
Well.
And for larger clients, those that have very specific needs, they offer custom solutions
I see.
tailored just for them.
So pretty flexible business model, able to work with all sorts of companies.
Exactly. And that's what makes them so successful. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
They have this product called Workers, which is a serverless computing platform. Now, you don't need to get bogged down in the technical details,
Okay.
but basically it allows developers to run code without having to manage their own servers.
Okay.
Cloudflare prices it very aggressively, almost like a loss leader.
Loss leader. Why would they do that?
It's a way to get their foot in the door, right?
Okay.
They're attracting developers with this affordable, powerful tool.
I see.
And once those developers are hooked, there's the potential to upsell them
Right.
on other Cloudflare services.
It's all about building that relationship
Long-term strategy.
and becoming an integral part of a company's infrastructure.
Absolutely. And it's a strategy we've seen work for other tech giants. But there is one more potential revenue stream that's a bit of a wild card.
Oh, tell me more.
Cloudflare collects a massive amount of data about how people use the internet.
They do, yeah.
And while they haven't said exactly what they plan to do with it,
Right.
there's speculation that they could monetize this data in the future,
Interesting.
maybe offering insights to businesses,
Okay.
developing new products. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
It definitely raises some questions about the balance between convenience and privacy.
Sure, sure. It's something to think about. But for now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the people behind Cloudflare.
Okay, let's do it.
A company is only as good as its leadership, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So who are the masterminds behind Cloudflare? What's their track record?
Well, the CEO is Matthew Prince.
Okay.
He's been with the company since the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
He's a co-founder, actually.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, shows a deep level of commitment and understanding of the business.
It does. But what about the rest of the management team?
Yeah.
Are they up to the task of leading Cloudflare through this crazy growth they're experiencing?
Well, they've delivered consistently impressive revenue growth
Okay.
and market share expansion, even with all this competition.
So they're not just riding the wave of a booming industry, they're actually outperforming their rivals.
Exactly. And here's something I really like. They're committed to transparency.
Okay.
They publish these detailed reports about government requests for user data.
You know, that's not something a lot of companies do.
Yeah, they don't.
It's definitely a good sign.
Shows they really care about privacy and security.
It builds trust.
Yeah.
But let's talk financials. Is Cloudflare a sound investment?
Well, they've got a market cap of around $48.57 billion.
Okay, so they're not a small player.
No, not at all. But to really understand their financial health, we need to look beyond just their size. Their price-to-earnings ratio, or PE ratio, is important for investors.
It is.
But it's a little tricky in Cloudflare's case.
What do you mean?
They're not consistently profitable yet.
Okay.
They're investing a lot in growth, which is normal for tech companies at this stage.
Right.
However, their forward PE ratio, which is based on projected future earnings,
Okay.
it's 151.7x.
151, that's high.
It's high. It means there's a lot of optimism baked into that stock price.
So investors are really betting big on Cloudflare's future potential.
They are, even though the profits aren't there yet.
So high risk, high reward situation.
Exactly. So in Cloudflare's case, we really need to focus on metrics like revenue growth and gross profit margin.
Okay, and what do those numbers look like? Are they living up to the hype?
Well, their revenue growth has been really strong.
That's good.
Yeah. And their gross profit margin is over 77%.
77.
That's healthy. Basically, it means they're keeping a big chunk of every dollar they earn after subtracting those costs.
So even if they're not profitable overall, they're running an efficient operation?
They are. And they have moderate debt, strong cash position.
Okay, so financially, they seem to be in a good spot,
So far, so good.
even though they're not turning a profit yet. But there's always more to the story, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We still need to look at market sentiment,
Yeah,
ownership structure,
for sure.
and, of course, all those risks that might be lurking beneath the surface.
We'll get into all of that in part 2 of our deep dives.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive on Cloudflare. So far, we've seen a company with a really interesting business model, strong leadership, and solid financials. But we're not done yet.
No, not even close. Now we need to see what the rest of the world thinks about Cloudflare.
Yeah, what's the buzz like out there? Are investors feeling as bullish as we are?
Let's find out.
All right, Chapter 4, Market Sentiment. Take it away.
Well, the overall sentiment is positive. Most analysts are pretty optimistic about Cloudflare.
They are.
Yeah, they're citing their growth potential and their position in the market.
It's a rapidly expanding market, too.
Exactly. They're seen as a leader in this really hot industry.
That makes sense. But the market can change quickly. What are some things investors should be watching for that could impact Cloudflare's stock price?
Earnings reports are always closely watched.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did they beat expectations? Did they raise their guidance for the future?
Right. Those are the kind of things that can really make a stock move.
Absolutely. So staying informed is crucial.
It is.
Keep up with the news and see what's happening. Another thing to consider is what analysts are saying.
Analyst price targets?
Yeah, their price targets for Cloudflare.
Okay, so what are those targets looking like?
Well, they range from $60 all the way up to $180.
Wow, that's a pretty big range.
It is a big range. The average target, though, is $121.96.
Okay, still pretty optimistic.
Yeah. But the range shows you there's a variety of opinions out there.
For sure. So different analysts are using different models and assumptions.
Exactly. It's not an exact science, but it gives you an idea of what people are thinking.
All right, so we've got a range of opinions, but overall, the sentiment seems to be positive.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about who's actually holding Cloudflare shares.
Right.
Chapter 5, Ownership Structure.
This is an important one.
Yeah, it can really give us some insight into who believes in Cloudflare's long-term potential.
For sure. And in Cloudflare's case, it's pretty interesting. Over 82% of their shares are owned by institutional investors.
82%. Wow.
Yeah. So we're talking big investment firms, mutual funds, hedge funds.
So it's not just individual investors buying up shares. The big players are in on this too.
Exactly. These are sophisticated investors who manage billions of dollars. And they've done their research. They see Cloudflare as a promising investment.
So we've got positive market sentiment. We've got strong institutional backing. But what about the people running the show?
Yeah, what about the insiders? Well, insider ownership is significant too.
So that means company executives and board members own a good chunk of stock.
Exactly. They have skin in the game. They're invested in the company's success.
That's always a good sign. It shows they believe in what they're building.
Yeah.
All right, but now, even with all these positives, no investment is without risk.
Right. We have to talk about that.
So let's get into it. Chapter 6, Risk Assessment.